thanks both of you for doing this. I appreciate taking the time out. Um, Matt, how am I going to differentiate you now? I'll just go Keith and Matt. That's
Yeah.
probably the
Yeah.
easiest. Um,
That's generally how we do it.
yeah, I don't know how I'd pronounce the second T, Matt, and then Matt. Um, so Matt, one of the things that I wanted to ask you the last day, after we finished, where is the gym? Like, where is the facility that you guys train at? Like that Jake and Mal and that train. Is it at your house? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So 90, probably 90% of the training we do is just in my home gym. When we built, uh, I wanted to allow it so I never had to leave my property. Um, so
just in
this
case.
this is a one-stop shop for me. So yeah, the gym's just in my basement, and then it's only 10-foot ceilings, so Mal can do ring muscle ups down there because she's a little bit smaller, but Jake is just like a quarter inch too tall to do them. So we have another gym in the area that I used to train at when I was competing. That they are the most accommodating. So usually on the weekends or open workouts, they've been very, very great for us. That we just zip over there and they have like the rope climbs, muscle ups, wall balls, all the stuff that requires the high height.
Hmm.
Um, but the last two open workouts, Jake and Mal both did them. They run like a Saturday morning. The whole community gets together, and it was insane when we were doing that. Like
Crazy.
when I was counting Mal's double unders, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and I still couldn't hear myself. It was wild. So we most of the time we're just here. It's just the three of us in the gym. But then, when they want to break, they want to change of scenery. When they want to break of just hearing me all day, every day, we'll head over to 802 CrossFit.
And is that
That
like,
is that scene, Matt. Done like what, 3 or 4 open announcements. I was telling people because I was there as well. It was literally identical to being at an open announcement.
Yes.
It was so loud. It was like you can't even describe it. Matt and I have been around like what 8, 9 years doing that type of stuff. Never been not at a site where we weren't at an open announcement that was like that. It was so
Yeah.
hyped. It was really cool for the athletes. Bad for judging
Yeah.
because you couldn't tell them what rep they were on, but it was really, really cool.
and uh, how often do they train under your eye? Will say, like, have they, like, I'm picturing, like, say some days they go in, they let themselves in, they train whatever, and then other days, because obviously you have other commitments as well and you have other stuff that you need to do, or is it like, okay, I'm going to be there 3 days every week no matter what, 5 days every week no matter what? How does that work?
Obviously when traveling comes up, that was a discussion that we had with Mal was the first one to move up here. So that was a discussion that we had with her of like, hey, like I'll coach you, I'll give you everything I can, but I do have travel requirements and other things I need to complete during the day. So we, it's been really smooth, and I really look forward to it because it's the couple hours in the day where I can't I can't be on my computer, I can't be doing other
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
So for me, it's really enjoyable. I get to do something I love, and I have an excuse to not hit my other requirements. It's a pause on the day. But every I would say just about every day, 8:30 to 11:30 or noon, I'm in the gym with them, eyes on them. So that's when I'll usually try to put in the workouts that are very technique heavy, that I want my eyes on and I want my critiques being heard, and then I'll try to structure most of the other stuff in the afternoon where it's not as crucial for me to be there with eyes on her. I end up most times still being in there for that second session, but then even on the days where I'm not, Mal's training partner, Jake Marconi, he is one of the coaches for HWPO. So, if I know I'm not going to be there, or if I can only be there for half of that afternoon training session, I'll have a quick sit down with Jake, kind of run him through like, hey, this is what I'm looking for stimulus. This is what I want you to keep an eye on for her technique. If modifications need to be made, this is the substitutions that I want to see. And, you know, I'll have that talk with Mal as well. You know, you know, she has a very good sense of, you know, what we're after out of each piece of training, so that I want her to be educated, so she's not 100% dependent on me. She knows how to
Yeah.
make the adjustments, or she knows what we're after for the day. But even those days when I tell them like, hey, I'm not going to be here for the afternoon, if I'm up here working, I'll just go sit down in the gym. I'll take my laptop with me, and then I end up just coaching the whole thing. But you know, there are days where I'm like, hey, you guys are on your own. And you know, last night was a perfect example of that. You know, Sammy joined a soccer league, and so she had a game, and so I was like, hey, I really want to be there for that. Here's your training. Then I'm talking to Jake that evening, like, hey, how did everything go? You know, I feel guilty when I'm not there. And Jake just says like, no, like, hey, I think it's a good thing that you're not there every training session. You know, it kind of gives us a break to joke around a little bit.
It gives
And
them an opportunity to bitch about you and complain about the programming
exactly,
again. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. And you know, and it just allows them to, you know, get work done and not be, they can just focus on working hard and not like always making adjustments and critiques and stuff like that. So, you know, and they've created just a great friendship. So it's time for them to hang out without the coach in the room.
yeah. What is if you were to put a title on your role with Justin, would that be like consultant, or like what
With
is there a title on it, or is it just like
Medeiros,
yeah, is it just like a casual I'll give you advice whenever you want it kind of thing,
yeah, you
or
know, I've made it very clear to him, like, hey, anything I can be, you know, for a resource for you, let me know. So I'll get hit up from him. You know, he's obviously had a couple trips out here. You know, one trip was very training oriented, and then I don't know if Mal had moved here yet, but Mal was here, and Justin was coming out for a week. You know, I'm kind of going over the game plan with him, and then he was kind of like, hey, I'm not planning on training very much while I'm there. Is that okay? Like, can I still come out? He's like, I more just want to have conversations with you and pick your brain. I'm like, dude, feel free. Like if you don't want to train while you're here, like it was still in the off season. Um, so anything I can be of a resource to him. He hit me up right before the launch of HWPO Pro and was like, hey, can you put me on the pro track? Like it could be your Christmas gift to me. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like I'll throw your email on there so you can receive it. But yeah, you know, him, friend, I sponsor him with Podium. So you know, he's our podium athlete, and then just resource for anything I can help with his training. You know, he's just such a fun,
yeah,
just such a fun guy. He has nothing but potential in the space. You know, so much still untapped potential. So anything I can
yeah.
do to, you know, help catapult him up to the top, you know, I'm there for him.
Yeah, that's cool. Speaking of being catapulted to the top, Keith, how exciting was it for you to, albeit briefly, be the CEO of CrossFit after you left? Were
That
you
was
like when obviously the timing is everything, but like you must have been laughing at how quickly that
it
just
was
became
pretty
like
funny.
suddenly it was fact.
Yeah, we were I was up with Matt, and I had I don't remember the exact time, but I think I had said like I'm leaving my job. And then, you know, I don't know, like a week prior, and then I was deciding on like when we would announce that I was joining HWPO, because you know, I really wanted that to be not blended in with I'm leaving and people
Yeah,
confused about that. And we were going to announce it on like a Thursday, and that whole thing played out, and all my name, like I was surprised, I guess my name was getting tossed around and all that. And I was with Matt, and Matt was like, this is interesting. Like, just leave it out there for a minute, you
It was
know?
to
It
the
was,
point that I had to like pull O'Keefe. I'm like, hey, you're not going to go work for CrossFit. You're like, you're still coming to work for me, right? And he was like, yes, of course. But
yeah, they were. That was cool. I mean, it was humbling. I mean, that's really nice that people think of me that way. But I'm right where I want to be. So
yeah,
that was a hard. not interested, never been called, but like, thank you for thinking of me. I'm pumped to be where I'm going.
Like, so you were at Loudon Live for like a long time and built like, you changed I've spoken to you before about the Loudon Live competitions and the work that you do with the athletes and the admiration I have for it. Like, and I think you've played a strong hand in changing like the competitive landscape of CrossFit and changing what it means to be an athlete at an elite competition and to be like how they're treated, how they're like, and I'm sure like Matt would testify to that as well. But like, when that's obviously a company that like existed and you joined like not at say the stage that hard work pays off is at now, where it's like HWPO is in its infancy. It's like it's grown like a crazy amount in a year, but you're in at the ground level here. Where like is it different? Is it less pressure because it's like you can kind of set things up the way that you're involved in the setup of things and you're involved in the creation of things rather than there's already all these systems in place that you have to adjust to or maybe try and get people to change to do things the way that you want to do it? Or is it worse because it's like you're more emotionally invested in like your will to succeed personally is also kind of fueled by the fact that it's like it's Matt and Sammy and you and it's people that you actually care about as well as just the business.
Are you asking me if I know what I'm doing? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no. I'll say this, that I think in Matt and I have learned this together, that, and I think what got us really comfortable with taking this big step, working together the way we are now. We've worked on everything together, right? Um, and I have been involved in helping with HWPO, not day to day, but like a lot. We had a partner, but I've helped with it, seeing it through. But business is personal. The more the older I get, and the more that I'm involved in business. I think a lot of people try to like do this whole like it's not personal, it's business. Well, for me, that's not how it works, and that's not how it works for Matt. Um, every customer that registers with us, that's personal. Everything that we put out, we put a personal touch on how we service people. So yeah, I mean the ante is upped because it's more personal for me, but that I think will produce a better result, and just from my experience. Um, and I think the same goes for where I was at with my involvement with Wadapalooza and Loud Live. Um, I really I made that personal. Like I made that my personal goal to be super successful with that, help it grow, and like you were talking about, bring the sport up in the process. So, man, I think that yeah, like I'm like nervous in that it's like jitters, like Sunday at the CrossFit Games jitters, like here we go, let's go, like we're the destination's out there, and we got a lot of work to do to get there. But I couldn't be doing it with people I love more than Matt and Sammy and this entire team. So that stuff doesn't scare me really. We've gotten to a point where this just makes it's actually irresponsible to not do what we're doing, to do more work together. It's kind of how we feel.
Yeah. And what's the story then with say like Justin and Brooke and like all the other athletes that are at Loudon Live? Are you kind of like did you have to make like the same phone call like 20 times to explain that you're leaving or it must have been kind of arduous kind of
Yeah,
leaving, was it?
that's not hard. Well, first of all, Matt kind of, when we sort of built this to, get set up for success. I mean, we've been involved in a lot together over time, and he knows who I am, and sort of, what was the biggest parts of my journey. And a big conversation was the group of athletes that I managed under Loudon Live and had brought to Loudon Live with me. And he's like, man, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for you to just not do that at all, you know. And so we've sort of set it up no different. It was all blended before, under Loudon Live. But again, I was running Loud and Live and events and all this other stuff, and not focusing, a whole lot of time on that. Daniel Robbins was with us. He's come over. We've set up a separate organization that's going to just focus on athlete management. He's taking a more significant role, but I'm still going to be involved in that. So they're not, the really fun part about those transitions are that guys like you're mentioning, Justin, Katrin, Brooke, they're all like, yeah, I don't care, like wherever you are, we're going to still even if I've got 1% of your time, I want it. So that's super easy. And, it's kind of who we are. Like we've all like Matt's doing now too, on a daily basis with Mal and talk about Justin. We just want to help people out. It makes sense to stay involved there. That's who HWPO is. That's who, I am, Matt is, others that are involved here. We just do good things with good people for the right reasons. Yeah, there's business involved, but like that's not the focus, I promise you. And anybody who's been involved with us can attest to that.
Man, I fucking love you. You're such a good guy, Keith. It's really cool. Matt, when we spoke the last time, you talked about dipping your toe in programming and suddenly having this realization of like, oh fuck, I really fucking like this. And then the same thing happened with coaching, where I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go and see what happens. And then you were like hooked. At what point in time did it become apparent with HWPO that you were like, okay, this isn't sustainable to be just like a small little, like just me and like programming everything? And then, because I know, like, say you brought in Jake, and then like Sammy's obviously been involved all the time, and you had Hybrid got things off the ground at the very beginning with you guys, and then now you've got like Matt, and like he's bringing, like you mentioned, Daniel and Aaron, and there's all these other people coming in. Like, at what point was it like, okay, we're going to need a bigger boat?
I don't think there's ever a moment where it was we need to do anything. I almost immediately I saw the bottleneck. Like when I first launched HWPO, it was just me and like notebooks and the computer that I already had and Excel spreadsheets. And yeah, I could have kept it like that, but I just wasn't happy with, little things falling through the cracks. I just wanted the quality for the end user to be better. And, that's like with having our own app, I wanted to be in control of the data entry, the notes that the athletes are seeing. I wanted to have, like, if my name's on it, I want to be responsible for it. I don't want to be dependent on someone else. And so, yeah, we could have stayed like that and done a great job with it, but I just always want to make it better, even if it means taking a step backwards and switching platforms and, going through, the headache and all the added work. But knowing that, all right, this is going to raise our ceiling in the future. So we're always working to just get better and better, but, and it's just working with people that I love. Everyone around me, I'm like, I count my blessings every time that we're having meetings or work has to get done. It's just the trust that's there between the people that I'm working with is, second to none. Through my whole competition career, I've always said, like, don't judge someone by how many friends they have, judge somebody by how many friends they've had for a long time. And I've taken great pride in the fact that if you see myself, Sammy, or O'Keefe anywhere at a competition, the other two aren't far away. Anytime I've gotten on a plane, I have one or the other, if not both, with me the entire time. One of my favorite things through my competition career is the photo that gets taken once we're off the podium. Every year I've been at the games, I have the same picture, and it's O'Keefe and Sammy on either side of me holding the check. And I'm like, yep, I've had the same crew since day one. The trust is there, the love is there. And so it's the exact same relationship and hard work and ethic and dedication, but now it's just in a different venue. And, I want to work with people that I enjoy. You're going to spend so much time with these people. You're going to have good conversations, hard conversations. And when the trust is there, it's life is a lot easier and more enjoyable.
Yeah. I've heard you speak before about how you want HWPO to be the go-to, like you want it to be kind of the de facto choice for if you want to get better, if you want to improve, if you want to train, that it's the logical, like that it'll be the first thing that comes into people's head, and they'll stick with it when they get it. With, say, the professional athlete side of it, like with the elite level athlete side of it, is there a ceiling on what you take on there as like one person coaching people? Like, have you got a thing of like, okay, one is the right amount, or two, or like, okay, five would be too many? And like, have you thought about that kind of thing, or is it more organic?
Like in terms of people that I'm coaching one-on-one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very easy decision right on. You know, I want quality, not quantity. Um, I I'm not as concerned about going to a competition and having a fleet of athletes. I'd rather have, you know, a handful that you know I have a personal relationship with, that I'm proud of what they're doing, and once again, don't really care how they place as long as they're giving their full effort and they're proud of their end results. That's all you can ask for. So you know, with being at the house here day to day, with my eyes directly on an athlete, I want to keep that group very, very small. You know, that's what I did
Mm.
through my whole training competition career. Um, and you know, I don't want a crowd where, all right, now we're having to make heat times. Now we're having to figure out how to coordinate sharing equipment, stuff like that. I want to have a very personal relationship with each athlete. I want to know their personalities. I want to know their strengths and weaknesses. I want to know them like the back of my hand, so that they don't have to tell me like, hey, I'm tired today. Hey, I'm nervous for this workout. I can tell by their body
Mm.
language. I know how they're moving, how they're acting, everything. And I never want to dilute that quality. I want to be able to give my full attention and give them, each athlete, everything they need. And, you know, like we've seen it in the past. I've seen it personally, you know, through weightlifting and CrossFit, when a training spot becomes the hot spot, and then everyone wants to start flocking there, and then it dilutes uh, the quality that's provided. And and then it also makes it easy that when I very, very first started working with Mal, we had a sit down conversation. I was like, okay, like this can be an easy or a tough conversation, but let's just put it out there. And I gave her my list of expectations of, hey, if I'm dedicating this amount of time to coaching you, here's what I expect. These are non-negotiables. And like, if that's not okay, that's perfectly fine. Like, if you don't want to do those, perfectly fine. Um, and obviously it was nothing extreme, but it was basically, it came down to, if I'm giving you my full effort, I expect the same. I expect you to give me your full effort. That was basically my only requirement. And I said, okay, what are your expectations of me? And hers were very, very simple. She just said, I want to be the only female you coach. I said, done. That makes my life very easy. And so you know, those are the prerequisites for working with Mal. She wanted no other female training partners. I said, yep, I'm good with that. So yeah, it made life easy.
Yeah. Um, what about her performance? So obviously the final leaderboard isn't up for the Open, but like pretty fucking impressive first couple of weeks anyway. Like, is that, did you expect that going in, or are you like, because obviously this isn't a time where people
Um,
peak. So are you, is it like scary seeing that kind of performance coming out where you're like, fuck, we're not even like at the stage that we will be at come
no, no,
August?
I mean, it's not scary at all. You know, it's incredibly impressive. Mal has just loads and loads of potential. Um, I think, you know, you look at the leaderboard, and it's impressive. You know, she's crushing it. First event, you know, got an event win. Um, Second event, she got second place. You know, we'll see where she falls on this
Mm.
third one, but it's impressive from the outside seeing it. What makes it even more impressive is having the insider information and seeing that she is not peaked right now. We have not been working on the things that have been showing up in the open. You know, we had a discussion early on. This is part of that first talk of like, you know, what are your priorities moving through the season? Do you want to dominate every stage? Do you want to look for quick success in the space and make a name for yourself? You know, how do you want to be seen in the public eye? How do you want to be seen from a competitor perspective? All these different avenues, and it made my communications with her very easy, because she's almost identical to me as a competitor. She's like, nope, I don't give a shit about anything other than the games. That's what I'm aiming for. And I was like, okay. So so there was no accommodations in training made for the open. We we have trained through the open. We don't do the open workouts right away. We watch the open announcement. The following day, we have a full day of training. Before the open workouts, most times we have our whole first session of training, and then we're hitting the open workout, and then immediately into the remainder of our training. So there has been next to zero priority put onto training for the open, like prioritizing the open workout during the week. And, you know, we're working on stuff that hasn't been touched in the open workout. So
Yeah.
seeing her performance is impressive, but then also knowing what's going in on the back end and everything revolved around the open workouts is what is making me even more impressed that we aren't working on these things. These are not our priority right now, and she's still absolutely smacking him out of the park.
Yeah, I think that's what I meant by scary, was like for the rest of the field they should be like, oh fuck. Keith, then, like, so obviously the big news coming out of HWPO is the new app that Matt mentioned there. And like, I think it's admirable as well, the admission of like, we didn't need to do it and we could have gotten away with not doing it, and we could have like just coasted on, okay, this is fine, like it's working and it's, you know, it's doing well. But I suppose the Fraser mentality of like, yeah, fine isn't good enough. What were the challenges in making this a reality? Like how, like, because obviously there's a lot of apps out there, like for say logging your training. Like there's a lot of different like offerings that are out there, and a lot of different programming companies use, you know, like Wodify or Sugarwater or whatever to log their training. What were the challenges in like starting something from scratch in that?
Well, yeah, that's a big question on the backside, but I think, to start, I think Matt started talking about this, but yeah, good enough is something that we talk about, well, and have for years. And status quo would have been a very comfortable place for Matt, honestly, with this. He could have just kind of like plugged along. He's insane, heavily investing in, our community and what this looks like moving forward. And, willing to take multiple steps back personally in order to make this thing look the way it should for everybody so that we complete the experience. And that's the real why behind this move is, we know that we have the best coaching and the best programming and the best resources on that side, how we condition people for life and for sport. But we didn't, we needed to bring the rest of the experience up to that level. And we want the best tech. We want the best platform. We want the best experience for the customers, for our hard workers, as we call them. And, so that's the real why behind it. The challenges there are just, finding the right place, finding the right people. I don't care if it's tech or widgets. It doesn't matter what, everything is people. Like even on that side, yeah, you need people who can build great code that produces a great piece of tech that comes to the consumer, looks great, functions well. We found the right people. Our partners from Fitter Training from the UK, Leon and Steve Fawcett, and just, incredible people, had been at it a long time on their side with their B2C product, Fitter Training. And they were the right people for us. They spoke to us the way we wanted to be spoken to. We're aligned on so many things in life too, and they've done a great job. And I think you're seeing today all the hard work they and our team put into giving feedback and what we wanted this to look like. But that's not it. Like a lot of people, might feel like this was, we're launched. This is the destination. It's not. We've got so much more to do, and we have so much more in the till that's coming out. We've got feedback already in just 2 days on what people want to see a little differently. And I think they're feeling, and if you haven't experienced this on this side, come over and listen. We're just going to get better every day. We're never going to do this. We're going to always move forward. So, we've got a lot of work to do, honestly. Like, we're just pumped this is out and our community can be in one place. It's theirs. We did it for them. They screamed from the mountaintops that they wanted this and they wanted to look a certain way. So this is 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Everything's going to be incredibly better and more advanced down the line. And we're working really hard. Like, got Matt, myself, Sammy, as we kind of watch this thing roll out and people are experiencing it, we're already starting to think about what the next steps are to make this thing bigger and better. But yeah, I mean, tech's a big step in any business's life, and it's something we took a long time to kind of look at and think about if we wanted to really go that route or just use an existing platform. There's so many of them out there that you can just say like, hey, let's go host it on some coaching site and be happy and everything's
What?
great. We've got big plans. We want to do so many things with this. And we want HWPO, as Matt said, to be that beacon where people look at it and be like, that's where I go to
Yeah,
get better.
I think what
And this is a
one
part
one
of
thing
that.
O'Keefe mentioned was like there are other platforms that could be used, and I think for where we're at right now, yeah, there's a couple other platforms that, yeah, they would do the job just fine, but where we are right now is not our end destination. So we wanted to find a platform that would allow us to grow and have the freedom to do more things. And so that's how we ended up with the partners that we have was we explained our plans of like, hey, we want to do X, Y, Z. It may be in a month, it may be in a year, it may be in 5 years, but we want the potential for this to be a possibility. And everything we did, they did such a good job with putting down a solid foundation that we don't have to just go in this direction of what they have right now. They have the potential to do any array of things, and we're trying to be the one-stop shop for no matter what type of training you're doing. Whether it's general health and fitness, you want to be a competitor in this space, or if you want to do sport-specific training, there's the avenue set up already that if we want to implement that, it's the foundation's already laid down and we can just hit the ground running with it right away.
Yeah. I think it's interesting as well. I mentioned to you the last time that I recognized your coffee machine and espresso cup from the background of a picture that Steve
Yeah.
Fawcett put up when he was there. And I never put two and two together of like, why the fuck is Steve Fawcett in Fraser's house? And it never, like, as soon as it came out, the fitter were powering the app. I was like, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, how did
That
I
is
miss that? And
amazing.
I was even talking to him about it, talking to you about it, and I never said like there was obviously an app coming. And
Yeah,
I
we
was fucking livid with myself.
that was a
That's
big thing that,
funny.
it's very easy. Like, obviously we live very, very far apart. And phone calls, text, emails, any communications we had been phenomenal. And, we're looking at them as a potential partner and thinking, okay, like they're saying everything that we're looking for, that we want to hear. Um, but the same that I was talking about, with the people that I choose to work with, I want to make sure that the trust is there. And it's how you do anything is how you do everything. Rarely do you have someone that cares about their physical fitness and doesn't care about progressing in every other aspect of their life. And so when the potential of partnership was coming up, it was very important that, all right, I want to make sure, I want to spend time with you personally. I want to observe you in day-to-day life, to make sure that that trust is there, and it's not just in this one aspect that you're telling me the right things. I want to see it. I want to meet you. Um, and like we're going to be working together very, very closely for a long time to come. And that's very important that, all right, like, all right, the brand is good. That's how I run every sponsorship of like, all right, I like the product, I like the brand, but I want to make sure that the people that I'm going to be in communication with and work with and travel with, I also get along with. I want to make sure that you're good people. And so, Leon and Steve came over, and it was just like, boom, we clicked, and it was like, all right, let's fucking go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've spoken to Steve. I've had Steve on. I've chatted to him a few times, and like, yeah, I can see because obviously it makes a difference. I think when someone's walked, okay, he didn't walk to the top of the podium, but he's
But
walked the same path that you walked. Of like, been on the competitive landscape, and he understands what it takes to
it,
manage people and teams
yeah,
and to work with
yeah, and he
athletes and
knows the
everything else.
space. Like he's been to
Yeah,
the games.
he knows what it's
He's
like to log
coached
training
he's
and
coached
all that stuff
athletes.
as
He's
well.
been a competitor. He's been to the games. And, that's another thing that's very important to us. Of if if we're working together, I want to make sure that this. Sammy's never competed at the games, but she's been by my side. She's been to the games. She sees the
Yeah.
training that's going in. She sees the work ethic and the dedication that's required. And, I want to make sure that, when somebody's coming in, they know what they're walking into. And I want to make sure that they're capable of it. And then also, I want to make sure that they reflect the same work ethic that everyone else is putting in. So, bringing people to my house, showing them how we work, why we work, what the end goal is, and making sure that they reflect it in every way.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example right now today is Leon, the founder, is sitting in the other room. I'm in a room. We rented a house up near me for our entire team to get in a room and just service customer questions and really steer the launch. Leon hopped on a plane from the UK and came over here and sat in the room with us. He doesn't have to do that. Like he can do that from anywhere. He's getting his hands dirty with us. Those are our kind of people.
Yeah, people doing the things
we got the right people.
People doing the things that should be done, not just the things that need to be done. Like Leon could have stayed home and just like video conferenced in, and I'm sure it would have been fine. It would have been adequate. But that's not what we're striving for. We're striving to do the things that should be done, even if it's an inconvenience on our end.
That's the stuff that, and that's like, when you look at sort of how we're, we talk to, the people that trust us to come and train every day. One of our big, key phrases is show up. And that's our experience. We've learned that even when it hurt, if we just, Matt traveled across the country to spend 24 hours with a weightlifting specialist or a running specialist, that stuff hurt and it was hard and it was like not the best possible thing physically, but showing up, myself the same, traveling, we were talking about this the other night, like we would travel to Barcelona for like 30 hours to do an appearance with him for Nike, where it was like made no sense, but you know why it made sense? Because you got to show up and you've got to just, do work and put in and be present. And that's how we want people that come here to train to think, and we want to train them to think that way too. It's just we just see things like very black and white. Just hey, do work, show up. Good people. Doing things for the right reasons, and everybody point in that same direction. We're just aggregating a group of badass people that want to do
that. I just suddenly became really self-conscious that I'm not wearing anything HWPO. I just realized you're both very on brand. And I'm not.
We'll get some stuff sent out.
A couple of things. A couple of things that I wanted to ask about. So one of the things I'm not very au fait with what other training apps offer. So this could be a thing everywhere, and I've just never realized it. But on the video that you guys put out the other day, Matt, you mentioned that you put in your PRs and it automatically adjusts the percentages for the training for the next day. So if you're doing like sets of 10 back squat, it tells you what weight. And I was like, as someone that's shit at maths, I was like, fucking hell, that is amazing. I was like, that is incredible. And like, yeah, I just really wanted to admire that, because like that, I paused the video. I was like, well, it's about fucking time that
that's
happened.
That's not just with the weightlifting stuff. When even the cardio work that I did through my training that I have my athletes doing, not everything is based off your 1K row, 2K row, 5K row. Sometimes the paces are falling in between, and then finding the right nomenclature for, running paces. What I always found the most convenient was giving your mile pace minus 1 second. And some people were like, that seems kind of slow for this short of an interval. So I have to give the explanation of like, all right, this is your mile pace minus 1 second per 100 meter. And same thing with rowing paces, anything like that. And, that was a big thing with the app that we went with, that we built, was that we can, on the back end, it's built up so heavy duty that we can do anything and everything we want. So even rowing paces, even if I'm like, all right, I want these rowing paces at your first one at your 5K, then your 5K minus 1 second off your split time. On the back end with our coding, we put that in. So even for your rowing paces, if we want the first one at a 150, your 5K pace, and then the next one at a 1 second negative split, you don't have to go in and interpolate like and calculate out your paces. It's just you'll see a 150 and then hold a 149, then a 148. So it's not just the weightlifting stuff. We never want you to have to leave the app. I saw this. My mom does HWPO 60, and she was in the app, but she had a full notebook, and she would go from the app and have to write everything out in the notebook, and then go to her calculator and then calculate her numbers. And I was like, this is such a shame. And so that was what we wanted with the new app. Was I don't want you having to leave the app to your calculator and flip flop back and forth like, oh, what was the next percentage? Was it 70 or 75? And any of that. So with the new app, all your paces, all of your weights, everything, you put in and there's room for 1 rep max, 3 rep max, 5 rep max, and it will interpolate all that data for you, so you never have to leave the app. It is a one-stop shop.
That's really cool. You mentioned that your mom is on the HWPO 60.
It's incredible.
So there's different tracks available. It is cool.
Cool.
I assume she pays for a membership.
Yes, she does. She better be. How old is she? How old is she now?
Oh God, I don't want to get a text after this podcast releases. I think she's 66. I would hate to say that she's 67. She's about to turn 67 this month. But yeah, so okay. I got a picture from my dad. They live out of an RV during the winter. So like, as soon as the snow starts to fly in Ontario, they hop in their RV. They bounce around between Florida and Arizona. And, I gave my mom the equipment she needed. So, she travels with her squat rack and barbell, and I'll get a picture of her like in their little patio area of their RV, her doing her back squats every morning. She goes to a local affiliate next to the RV park that they're in. But yeah, she hits her training 6 days a week.
She has that squat rack in the RV.
No, like they have it in storage. So like,
I'm just thinking of
they go to an RV park, they'll stay in one spot for at least a couple weeks. And so I gave her. Like she has her whole home gym set up, and then she has the setup that's a little bit smaller, and they can store it underneath in the storage containers of the RV.
It's crazy. All I'm thinking of when I hear that is, fuel prices have gone up a lot lately. I'm thinking of your dad driving around like grumbling when he pulls into a gas station, be like, "Fuck's sake, Matt." I'm gonna go through the different tracks, and I thought if you could give me like a one line
synopsis of everything,
who it's for and what they get out of it.
So flagship is flagship for anyone that is looking to progress, get better, hit PRs, and think of flagship as quarterfinal, semifinal level athletes, but you're doing all the movements, but everything is scalable. For all the Metcons, there is a prescribed weight and a percentage weight. So if the barbell cycling, I tell you, all right, this is the stimulus we're after. We're looking for this size of sets. So either hit the prescribed weight or the percentage, whichever one comes first. So that, just for an example, if there's 185 pounds shoulder to overhead in the Metcon, and your shoulder overhead is only 200 pounds, you shouldn't be trying to cycle 185 in a Metcon. So I put in a percentage of like, all right, 185 or a 50% of your 1 rep max. So that even if your 1 rep max is way, way lower than mine, you and I are moving through the workout at the same pace, getting the same stimulus. But I would say flagship is meant for people that, are looking to hit PRs, progress in different areas, work on weaknesses, and, maybe having, a competition every now and then. If you're having like your gym's having a weekend throwdown and you want to partake, that's the track for you.
Yeah.
I've been telling people, we've been doing, having a lot of great conversations the last few days when we've gone live, that there will be people on flagship that
100%.
Don't let that
When
scare you
you,
off, because there's people like me who have done it. I'm 44 and
yeah,
I can scale it, you know? So it's a really cool program.
when you initially said there, I've been telling people, I thought you were going to say, I've been telling people the total wrong thing for what flagship is.
So
Okay,
60
HWPO 60.
is for the person that is still looking to hit some PRs, but have a time constraint. You have other responsibilities during your day, whether
Hmm.
it's work, kids, family, whatever it is. So HWPO 60 is a uh, scaled down, or not even scaled down, a time sensitive
Stripped
version
back,
of
maybe, yeah.
flagship. So it goes through the same progressions. For the
Yeah.
most part, the same metcons. Some of the metcons have to get trimmed down, but everything is based off time intervals. So if you're training by yourself, you can just set the clock and then it holds you accountable. So everything is based on time intervals. So, your back squats, even if you're going by yourself, they're set up on the 2 minute or 2.5 minute intervals. But it's all, I would say, for the most part, all the same movements, but just scaled back in terms of volume, so that you can complete it, be in and out of the gym in 60 minutes.
Yours
Okay.
truly was a tester on that, by the way. So it works. It works. I'm more of a sweat guy now, but the program's awesome. Getting in and out in an
Yeah.
hour, it's badass.
Pro then that's like Mal,
So
Justin. That's like the
um,
beyond
not even.
semifinals.
Pro, like
Okay.
if you're looking for someone to guide you through the season, the big thing with pro is there's going to be 2 sessions per day. So you need a lot more time dedicated towards it, but then also the dedication outside of the gym. So with putting in that much volume and that type of intensity, body work is expected every day. But pro, 2 sessions a day. On the low impact days, there is a spin bike workout and a swim workout. So with pro, you're expected to find the resources. Once we progress through the season and we start doing things like, hey, today is a road biking day, you are expected to have the resources to make that happen. Going off site, so it's not just in a gym. So when there is a track workout, you are expected to be at a track, know all your PR times. The skill level is obviously raised up. So, we put in prerequisites before the sign up of like, hey, like you are expected to have a 265-pound snatch, like 120 kilo-ish. You should be looking at this as your mile time. We put in these prerequisites so that, someone who isn't at that stage yet isn't coming in and then feeling demoralized because they can only do half of the work. But it is a
Yeah.
much bigger time requirement. But the main thing is that the pro track follows the season and we update the programming live. So as we're going through, we just finished up with doing the open. The open workout gets announced and then we tailor the back end of the week of training and the start of the next week of training. So if in the training there were a bunch of chest to bar on Friday and then the open workout had chest to bar, we're modifying that so that the open workout isn't putting too much volume on a certain body part or a certain stimulus. And then leading into quarterfinals, we're given the option of a peak program so that, all right, we're blocking off this 4 days of training, so you're not missing this training as you're completing your work. And then, leading into semifinals and games, we're updating that programming live, depending on what competition you're going to, what workouts get announced, so that the athletes have the best setup for success as possible.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, I fell at the first hurdle there of qualifying for pro when you said the snatch weight. I was like, nah, I probably wouldn't even fucking deadlift that. Because you have two new ones then. Sweat and Classic
Yep.
are they've been released as new
So
tracks.
sweat
What do each of
is
those entail?
similar format to HWPO 60 in terms of that everything is on time intervals, but with sweat, it's
Yeah,
very lightweight. So no complex bar movements, no high skill gymnastics movements, very minimal equipment. But it's set up for the person that you're like, hey, I don't care about hitting a PR squat snatch. I want to just go into the gym, be told what to do, and just get a kick-ass workout that's going to get my heart rate up, get me sweating, get me feeling good, and then I can move on with my day. So everything is set up on time intervals, relatively low skill. So you don't need to know how to squat snatch. You don't need to know how to do ring muscle ups, anything like that. But it is any skill level. Like I jump in, Sammy loves hitting sweat workouts, and I'll jump in with her. And I remember the first time I did it, and I was jumping in, and I grabbed like a 50-pound dumbbell, and she was like, "No, like grab a 35. You do not need 50 pounds." And so it's just moving, and you are huffing by the end of it. Yeah, so sweat is just, you're looking to get in and out of the gym quickly. A workout is planned out for you, and you're just going to sweat and, just feel good, fit for the day.
When we get ourselves,
So you do that, Keith, do you?
what's that?
You do that? Is that the track you're on now?
That's yeah. I'm a sweat guy. We're gonna go do a sweat here after this call.
You need to come up with a new line
Yeah.
for that. I'm a sweat guy.
I'm a
Just
sweat guy.
doesn't really hit
It
it.
doesn't hit hard. That is, especially when we get our feet under us, we're most focused on getting this launch done and everybody, getting where they need to get on the move. We'll start going live with some of that stuff. That is something we do to, first of all, our culture is to work together and then work out together. I have my whole life worked out with Matt. A lot of people will think that's funny. I got really unfit early on doing that because, if you're competitive and you're getting beat by like triple time, it's kind of a shitty place to live. But, we enjoy suffering together, and we've tested some of the sweat stuff together, and it's Matt, Sammy, and I did one a couple weeks ago when we were building some content for the launch. And it was awesome. Matt was pushing me. I don't think I was pushing him, but he was like trying to get me to race with him, but so he could just put me in my place. It's awesome, man. It's like, it's the stuff that I've become most attracted to in more intense functional fitness, CrossFit. Just like really cool, and you feel like completely fulfilled when you're done. So I'm gonna be running on that track, and I'll come up with a way to say that a little better for you moving forward. But I'll be running with the sweat.
I think one thing to point out too is like I was in the same boat as everyone when you see how the workouts are tailored and you see what the workout is, and you think, it's not hard enough for me. So that's why if you sign up, you're getting a free trial of HWPO Sweat. And then if you don't like it, it's not for you, that's fine. You won't get billed for it. You get to try it, see if you like it. But I'm willing to bet like even the highest skilled people going through one of those workouts, and you will see the benefit of it. And it's one of those things, like I'm doing the workout with Sammy. We're doing the same workout, and we are obviously at very, very different fitness levels. But we're getting
it's what CrossFit is. That's what CrossFit,
we're
like
getting
infinitely
the same
scalable and
stimulus,
accessible.
and we're both sweating our asses off.
Yeah. Have you ever seen those T-shirts
Yep.
where they look plain and then when you sweat, like the logo appears? You need to do a HWPO one and call it the sweatshirt.
We actually, there's actually a shirt out that kind of works like that. It's like just come out. It's this green one, and when you sweat, the logo starts to pop a little bit. But you're dead on. That's like, we definitely need to work that out.
That's your sweatshirt.
So classic
classic
is,
then.
It's the track that is there for throwing down with your buddies. Doesn't follow any progressions or anything. You can jump in whenever you want, and it's going to be your classic workout of couplets, triplets, chippers. Our vision with classic was, there's a day of training where all your buddies happen to be in the gym with you, and you're on whatever track you're on that's following progressions, and you're guiding towards that. And then so that workout isn't as group friendly, and so you just want a simple metcon that you can just throw down with your buddies, or you just you just wanted Metcon for fun that day, and like here you go. And so with Classic, if you have any one of our tracks, you get Classic for free. And so that's just like, you want to work out just a throw down. You don't want to think about writing up a workout or programming it. You want something to throw down with your buddies, or you just want a fun workout for the day. There's your workout.
Yeah. For the future then, would you ever do like affiliate programming if a gym approached you and said, we want like, or is this, are you hopeful that this is designed in such a way that someone could just say like, I want to apply this to our
Somebody could
programming?
Take one of the tracks and modify it to affiliate programming very easily. When it comes to affiliate programming, that is something that, how we do anything is how we do everything. And when it's not even a matter of if we do it, it's just when we do it, we want to make sure that we have the perfect people in place to do it. So, you know, we want somebody that has affiliate experience. They know how to run a large class size through a workout. They're thinking of things that, you know, I've never run an affiliate. So there's going to be things that come up that have never even crossed my mind because I've never done it. So we just want to make sure that we have the perfect team in place to provide the best service possible and the best program possible. It's the same as how we're doing all the different tracks. We're putting the right people in place to service the athletes, service the customers, and then also have the best program. So that's something that we're working on. We're trying to just find the right fit before we launch with it.
We do, and to speak to what Matt just said, we have affiliates around the world doing HWPO, modifying 60 or flagship. So, you know, for the most part, I think when we, you know, really get sweat out there, a lot will be attracted to that too, because there's a lot of gyms building sweat programs. You know, so we have some already interested that have asked. So there's a lot of people out there. I'm excited for that, but again, I can't, you know, this actually ties into, I think, a bigger thing too, that I think is important to say that, you know, anything we do, we're going to, you know, Matt in his career too sought out expert opinion, you know, when it came to things he didn't feel comfortable, you know, just looking up and doing on his own, swimming, running, whatever it was, right? That's how HWPO is going to process things. That's our ethos is, you know, find experts to speak to their expert knowledge, you know, and we're not experts in swimming or running. We know how that stuff works, but we're going to bring people in to help with that stuff. So the future, the next 12 months particularly, is going to be a banger, as you might say over in Ireland. But we're going to have a lot of cool stuff coming. With that, we're talking to a lot of cool people that are going to come on and help.
Yeah, that was a fucking good save, Keith. Backing out of UK and fixing it. That was a good catch. That was close. That was good. That was good.
Oh, by the way, I want you to know on
so
the UK's on the Irish side. So my wife just made me do like one of those gene tests, and I always tell everybody I'm 100% Irish. So I was like a little skeptical and worried. Honestly, I was going to find something out I didn't want to know, and it came back and. Sure enough, I am purebred Irish. I got like a 1% Native American in me, but everything else is Irish. So, you know what? I feel really good about this.
Yeah, you're one of us. We'll gladly accept it. What about competition programming then? If an event said they wanted HWPO to program the workouts for a test, is that something that you would be interested in doing as well?
So, you know, like we dipped our toes in with HWPOLOOZA. We programmed the gauntlet for them, and that was so much fun. You know, just being there and watching everyone go through it. It was one of those things that I was like, you know, when I got asked, I was like, I'll try it once, but we'll see. And then, you know, it went off really, really well. It was a ton of fun. People loved it. And so now we're starting to say yes more and more to stuff like that. So, you know, okay, are we allowed to say who we're working with right now? Yeah. Yeah,
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 go for it.
Yeah, you
yeah.
were.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
Matt
so
said it's
we're
fine.
programming
Peter loves that.
competition Can West. So we're in the beginning stages of
Oh
programming
wow,
their qualifier. But yeah, we'll be programming for the whole competition, and hopefully more and more of stuff like that comes up because it is a ton of fun.
We
yeah,
have
that's cool. That's
literally.
really cool.
Um, I will tell you that confidently there'll be 3 or 4 others that we'll do in 2022 that we're excited about. Even some back with stuff I did before. Those announcements are to come. In the next few weeks, you'll probably see some of that. So we want to like really touch all the markets. We'll do some stuff in Europe, South America. We're definitely going to get out there and do a little of this. We're excited about it. It's a cool challenge. I have a lot of experience with it, which I think will help. But yeah, there's a lot of that'll come out in the next few weeks.
That's cool. That's really exciting. Well, look, I'm conscious of. I was told we had half an hour, and we're gone over an hour. But thanks both of you for coming on. Best of luck with HWPO, the app, and everything else. I hope it's a seamless transition for everyone. And from what little I've seen of the videos of you guys talking about it, and from what you guys said there, I think anyone that's a member or considering becoming a member won't be disappointed with what they find when they download the app. And yeah, best of luck with Can West, and like to Mal and Jake and Jason and everyone with the game season. And yeah, like when you were on the last day, you said when some of the stuff that's announced starts getting announced, I'm really fucking psyched to
Yeah.
see what's coming. And I was kind of like, I wonder what he means by that, and now I fucking get it. So yeah, best of luck
Awesome.
with
Thanks so
everything
much.
that's coming up. It's really exciting.
Yeah, thanks for having us.